Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are taking a seriously fascinating journey into the mind, body, and spirit of one of the modern era's absolute greatest athletes. We're breaking down the anatomy of a real champion. We're going to take a deep dive into the psychological, the physical, and the emotional frameworks of high performance. And honestly, whether you're a massive sports fan, a business professional, or really just someone looking to level up your everyday life, there's an incredibly powerful blueprint here for you.
Okay, let's dive into this. To truly understand the anatomy of a champion, we're going to dissect the Virat Kohli playbook layer by layer to extract some seriously actionable life lessons across 5 key areas: the fitness revolution, mastering mental preparation, the privilege of pressure, emotional intelligence in sports, and finally, the psychology of evolution.
Starting us off with Part 1, the fitness revolution.
So the foundational pillar of Kohli's success was this radical physical transformation, right? And it went way beyond just breaking batting records. It literally reshaped an entire athletic culture. Before 2015, traditional fitness in Indian cricket relied on pretty standard, repetitive routines. But his collaboration with coach Shankar Basu sparked an absolute revolution. They shifted to a science-driven, Olympic athlete approach. It wasn't just blind, grueling hard work anymore. It was method. It was logic. And this massive shift allowed the team to physically dominate and go toe-to-toe with imposing Senate nations like South Africa, England, New Zealand, and Australia.
7. Now, to put that into perspective, that is the incredible number of double hundreds Kohli scored in Test cricket in a really short span between 2016 and 2019. It's just undeniable proof that elite physical stamina directly fuels sustained elite performance. Because, when your body doesn't tire out, your mind stays sharp. It allows you to execute your skills flawlessly over literally days of grueling competition.
Moving right along to Section 2, Mastering Mental Preparation.
Now ask yourself right now, how do you prepare for your own high-stakes moments? Do you cram? Do you over-practice? Now what's really interesting about this slide is the paradox of his mastery. Kohli actually says, "I have never been a believer of a lot of preparation. All my cricket has been mental." Despite his absolutely relentless physical routine, his game day mastery relies entirely on feeling mentally sharp rather than just endlessly repeating physical drills.
And this is exactly what that mental readiness looks like in practice. It's a highly structured routine: visualization, positive self-talk, goal setting, and breathing exercises. He famously trains his brain on the team bus before he even reaches the ground. He visualizes the bowlers he's going to face, vividly imagining himself playing his shots, so by the time he steps onto the field, his mental practice completely overtakes his conscious mind, and he can instinctively execute under immense pressure.
But this mental preparation isn't just isolated to game day. These structured off-field routines translate directly into tangible leadership qualities. Things like a clean diet and early wake-ups. They build immense self-control and set the tone for the entire squad. Regular reading fosters a growth mindset. The discipline built in those quiet, unseen moments becomes the very foundation of a public leadership style that uplifts absolutely everyone around him.
Let's actually see this mental framework in action. Imagine facing a massive, seemingly impossible target of 360 runs, just like India did against Australia in Jaipur. Instead of getting completely overwhelmed by that giant number, Kohli's visionary approach was to divide the massive target into small, achievable pockets. Just focus on the immediate milestone. And the result? A breathtaking 52-ball century and a historic victory. Focus on the nearest target, and the ultimate goal kind of just takes care of itself.
Which brings us to Section 3, the privilege of pressure.
Stepping into the crucible of high-stakes sports requires a very specific mindset. For most people, immense expectation is a heavy, heavy burden. But for the elite, pressure is a privilege. It's fuel. And this brilliantly illustrates how Kohli's mindset connects to Kobe Bryant's famous Mamba mentality. It's this unshakable philosophy where you absorb failure, silence all the external noise, and use the sheer weight of expectations to sharpen your focus. You don't hide from the pressure, you actively seek it out.
In fact, you literally have to intentionally create difficult situations in practice if you want to thrive under real pressure. Think of it like trying to complete a 3-hour exam in 2 hours and 45 minutes. There's this fascinating anecdote of Kohli scoring a monumental 235 runs. Now, most of us would need a week off after that, right? But he went straight to the gym. Why? Because he reasoned that to score a triple century one day, he needed to know how to perform and push through extreme physical exhaustion. You literally have to manufacture adversity to master it.
40. That is the staggering number of Test wins Kohli secured as captain. It's cold, hard data proving that when you build a team culture on fitness, mental resilience, and absolute fearlessness, it yields historic, truly unprecedented results.
All right, moving to Section 4, emotional intelligence in sports.
So moving beyond just individual grit, understanding and regulating your emotions is just as critical as executing a perfect cover drive. Now, Kohli has always been known for his fire, for sure. But what we're really looking at here is controlled aggression. His famous on-field intensity isn't arrogance, and it's not a loss of temper. It's a very deliberate, emotionally intelligent tool. He harnesses that raw passion to elevate his own focus and honestly to infect the entire team with that exact same high-octane energy without ever letting it cloud his tactical judgment.
And hey, the science actually backs this up. Systematic reviews in sports psychology highlight that athletes with high emotional intelligence excel because of self-awareness, emotional regulation, and the absolutely crucial ability to recognize their teammates' emotions. High emotional intelligence helps athletes choose active problem-solving approaches over just avoiding things when the stakes are at their highest. It prevents burnout, and it builds a completely unbreakable team dynamic.
Let's move to and see how this builds in our final section, the psychology of evolution. How does a champion actually handle stepping down from a role they've completely mastered? Well, to understand this, we have to look at something called identity fusion. For elite performers, sport isn't just a job, right? It's their entire identity. And neuroscience shows us that this is deeply linked to the brain's default mode network, which handles our personal storytelling. Retiring from a mastered role, like stepping down from a captaincy, is incredibly psychologically intense because it literally disrupts the neural network that tells you who you are.
But true champions navigate this gracefully, using what psychologists call a self-worth alignment protocol. First, you author your own exit. You choose the moment rather than letting circumstances choose it for you. Second, you separate your ego from your authentic worth, realizing you are way more than just a title. And third, you think about legacy, not longevity. Kohli completely owned his narrative by recognizing his peak and evolving his identity, proving that letting go is actually an act of incredible strength, not weakness.
So, the crucial point is this. Kohli's journey is a mirror for all of us facing transitions, whether it's a job, a relationship, or a personal goal. I want you to ask yourself right now, am I staying because of fear or because of passion? Does this role still align with who I am becoming? Apply this champion's playbook to your own high-stakes moments. Own your narrative, embrace the pressure, and never, ever be afraid to evolve. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.
Welcome